get that every time, don't you?
Good afternoon. Today is the Law Enforcement Committee meeting. It's 4:30, May the 9th, on Thursday. Good to see everybody. It's been a while since we've been able to have one due to all the circumstances that we've had lately. I'm gonna pass around, the agenda for everybody. Or do y'all have one?
No, this is
No.
from Linda.
Our secretary's not here, so,
You have a sign-in sheet, didn't you?
yes, I do. I'll just pass those around if you don't mind. Has everybody got one?
I think so.
I got an
Okay.
extra, somebody got one?
I've got one. Thank you.
Okay, I need somebody to make a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any public comments, Mr. Colfelt? You sure? Okay. Just making sure. If you all have had a chance to look over our last meeting minutes, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the last minutes.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
And everyone in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Under unfinished business, we don't really have any unfinished business. I'm not sure if the sheriff is coming tonight or not. I haven't spoken with him. Next meeting, we will give an update on the new drug recovery court. Due to the circumstances, like I said, that everything's going on in the last month, I'm not sure where that stands. I did hear they hired a director, and that's about as far as I've heard. So we'll have some more update on that at the next meeting, because it is, the late Mayor Matheny had it where they were gonna report to the Law Enforcement Committee, and I don't know how all that stands. I don't know if that's still gonna, do you know anything, Mayor?
I do not.
Okay. So I'll try to get an update on that through the DA or whoever I need to talk to for the next meeting. I haven't had any kind of update. Under new business, the sheriff is not here. They may be busy from the weather last night. I'm not sure.
I just sent a message, we'll see.
Okay. Ms. Baker, can we have your probation report, please?
So keep in mind that this report covers a 3-month time span. I started doing that since we're meeting quarterly instead of doing it every month, so to break it down a little bit easier. Over a 3-month time span, on average, we had 890 active clients. And that is for a staff of 7, 6 of those being probation officers, and that includes myself. We had 311 new cases. That does not mean clients. Cases and clients are not the same thing in our case management system. So one client could have several cases. We closed out 287 cases over the 3-month time frame. We have 29 state probation clients that will come to us once they are completed with their state time. So we still have to monitor those state felony cases, but their time will start with us once their circuit time is done. Right now, we have 2 clients that are on bond conditions. That means that they may have a scram monitor, a GPS monitor, or just random drug screens. They are not officially on probation. They have to meet certain requirements to continue out on bond status. So we supervise those clients. For that 3-month time frame, we issued 142 violation of probation warrants. Some of these may have been for extensions. We have violations, we've got some violations that are called good violations and bad violations. Good violations means that you have come to the end of your probationary period and you're in the middle of a 26-week matters intervention course or a 3-month IOP for alcohol and drug treatment, and you just didn't have enough time to complete it, and you were working at it effort. And what we do is to stop your time, we have to do a violation of probation, or don't we lose authority on you? So that we have the warrant issued. Most of the time, they'll go to the jail and check themselves in. It's an ROR bond, check in, process out, come to court. We tell the court they're almost finished, they need just a little bit more time. If I don't do this, then I lose authority over that client. So that's why we do it. So some of these violations that we issued could have been good violations or bad violations. 103 violation of probation warrants were resolved during this time period. Even though we issued 142, 103 of those could, and that wasn't necessarily those 142, it could have been 103 from 3 months ago back, but we had 103 resolved through the court system. There were 450 messages or an attempt messages to leave with clients before we issued any type of violation. So not only are we sending out pending violation letters that says, hey, you missed your appointment, I've attempted to call you. We attempted to call 450 clients and left messages in an attempt to get in touch with them before we issued a bad violation. There were 131 pending violation letters mailed. And basically it's saying, hey, you haven't been in here to see me, come and see me. We are doing a lot of things before we issue these warrants. We also have a text message system that we've set up now. It kicked off in January of this year. So every day, like everybody that came in to see us today, they got a text message yesterday at 12 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock, our vendor sends out this mass text message that says you have an appointment with Coffee County Probation tomorrow and whatever time it is. So we're doing everything we can possibly do to get people to be compliant except going to get them. Our contact summary, there were 2,650 appointments that were scheduled during this 3-month period. There were 389 appointments that were canceled by clients. They picked up the phone and said, I don't have a ride, I have to work over, whatever it may be. 389 actually called, 333 just flat out no show, no call. Even after they got a text message reminder, even after possibly they've got a letter sent, even after they had their last appointment and we give them a business card, they just flat out no show, no call. There was 1,209 follow-up appointments that were kept by clients. On average, these are around 30-minute appointments. There were 175 intakes that were kept by clients. Intakes are their very first appointment. It's the very most important appointment, and those usually last an hour. We had 315 scheduled, but only 175 showed. Phone appointments, we had 153 follow-up phone appointments. Sometimes these are used as a reward. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, we're gonna let you call in. Sometimes these are used for clients that are out of state. We use those for phone visits because we do visit, or we do supervise people that are out of state. We did 10 phone intakes for the 3-month period. Again, these are over the phone, an hour-long appointment. 944 non-scheduled phone contacts with clients. Now, these are not clients calling and saying, I lost my card, when's my appointment? These are clients calling, needing assistance for something in one way or another. 944. We had 248 contacts with therapists, caseworkers, rehab facilities, different things like that. We spend a lot of time on the phone getting people into rehabs and treatment centers. Just a few numbers for you for court probation requirements. These are part of their plea deal, that these requirements are, and sometimes it can be a requirement made by your probation officer. For example, if you fail a drug screen, our first knee-jerk reaction is not do a violation of probation and put you in jail. Because we can put you in jail all day long, and when you get out, you're still gonna have the same drug problem that you had before you went in. So what we like to do is we like to get you treatment first and get that set up for you, and if you decide not to go, then you're gonna have a violation. So during this 3-month period, we had 144 clients to complete alcohol and drug evaluations. We had 2 clients that completed a drug education program. This is a one-time 4-hour class. It is not rehab, one-time 4-hour class. We had 20 clients to complete inpatient alcohol and drug rehab. The minimum days are 28. It's a 28-day inpatient program, but a lot of times we have people in longer-term programs. We had 18 people to complete outpatient alcohol and drug rehab, and this lasts anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, going 3 days a week most of the time. We had 4 people to complete an 8-hour anger management class. We had 77 clients completed a DUI school. We had 13 to complete a domestic violence eval to determine if they needed any services, whether it be anger management or batter's intervention. We had 13 people to complete mental health evaluations. We had 6 clients that completed batter's intervention. Batter's intervention is a 26-week program. If you go once a week, every week, it's gonna take you 6.5 months to complete this. We have them on probation normally 11 months and 29 days. So we're really pushing them. This program is a successful program in the fact that it's not anger management. It's true batter's intervention, and it's a 26-week program. There's only 30 facilities in the state of Tennessee that is licensed to do this with a Tennessee coalition, because it takes a lot of training to go through it, but it's very well worth the class. We had 2 clients to complete mental health counseling. As we know, mental health counseling is something that is ongoing. It's never ending. A lot of therapists and mental health facilities will not say, oh, they're done, they're finished, they're completed. They'll say they're met to a level of stability at this time, at this day, this time, this second. They're stable. 5 minutes from now doesn't mean that's gonna happen. So you don't get a lot of completion on mental health. 13 clients completed the theft class. Our office actually teaches this theft class. It's a bi-monthly class. We sign usually 30 people up at a time to get 15 people in the class. We try to cut 15 people off, but we usually are signing 30 people up just to get 15 people to show up. It's a one-time class. 2 people in our office teach it, and it's a 3-hour class. This theft class is taught in, has been taught in all prison systems in the state of Tennessee, so it is a really good cognitive behavioral therapy workbook that they work through when they're in there. We had 210 clients to submit proof of a job. Over the course of the last 3 months, we have had 3 clients to pass away. 2 of those we know definitely were drug overdoses. Due to snow days and holidays in January, our visits were down a little bit. When the building is shut down, we call our clients and we have to cancel those visits. Also, there were some people, staff members, that took time off during spring break. Our new administrative assistant started in January, and she's a former circuit court clerk, so we're very fortunate to have her on staff with us.
What's her name?
Amber Haley. Yeah. We have 5 out of 7 employees enrolled in the COCTP program. 2 of them are completed, and 1 is ready for capstone. So my one that's ready for capstone did not get in this time. There was a huge waiting list. So hopefully if they have another one in the fall, she'll get in the fall. If not, she'll get in the spring. I also had 2 employees, and I'll put this on my next 3 months, but since we're here, I had 2 employees that signed up for the Spanish class that CTAS is teaching. They're not gonna get any financial kickback for them doing that. They did that on their own. They started at 11:30 every Tuesday and go to 1:30, and they have a couple of hours of, homework. But we had two ladies, our administrative assistant, Amber Haley, and then one of our probation officers took it upon themselves to do that. And so they said the class was very hard. It was hard. But they're willing to do that, to try, because our Hispanic caseload has increased. And we don't have an interpreter other than the court interpreter that comes. And so when the court interpreter comes, we help him. If it's a day that we're in court, he helps us get name, address, phone number, and then they bring an English-speaking friend in with them sometimes. And sometimes they don't. But we have a lady that's been working with them, or they'll bring a family member in, and that's how we're doing communication. So we're trying.
Are they taking this class during their normal working hours, though?
Which
Or
class?
The Spanish,
The
CTAS
Spanish
Spanish?
class, yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're doing it during their normal working hours,
Okay.
from 11:30 to 1:30.
I would love if the person that you requested to be a Spanish speaking, you know what I mean? She's requested, an additional employee.
Yes.
It would be good if that employee could be.
It's bilingual, yeah.
So what we have done, in my budget, I have put in for an extra employee, and yes, it would be wonderful if we could have that.
Yeah.
That's like a gold mine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I can't find it, but I sure would like to find it. But we're getting ready to teach a Hispanic theft class, if, that is approved in my budget, and we're gonna contract with Mr. Amato. He is going to teach a, Spanish theft class. We teach the English-speaking theft class 6 times a year. We're gonna start out 3 times a year for this, and so hopefully we'll be able to do that. And Mr. Amato is gonna help us with that. So we wanna treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
Give everybody the same benefits.
David Amato?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
He's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Again, our text message appointment reminder is up and running. We just now completed the first 3 months of the program. It alerts them every day at 12 o'clock the day before. And I'll get a printout at 12 noon, and it tells me everybody's number that failed. And so then I send out an email to my team, and I say, hey guys, so-and-so's text message failed. If they come in tomorrow, make sure you're getting that new phone number. And they'll be like, oh, well, I have minutes, or I didn't have minutes, and maybe it just didn't go through. So we have a really good team. This is one of the best teams I've had the opportunity to work with. Really good, hardworking team. Like I said, I put in for an extra position. We've not had a new full-time position since the office was formed over 16 years ago. We've had a part-time person 3 years ago to go full-time, but that should have always been a full-time position just because of the nature. So hopefully we'll get that position approved, and my next obstacle will be finding a place in that building to put that person. That'll be the next. And if I get the position approved, I've got to have a place. If I don't have a place, the position's not going to help me. And we've divided walls. We did everything we can do. We've divided walls to make our offices smaller, to make them more private. And I've got 2 places in mind, but we'll just have to see how everything works out. Any questions?
I have one, on your good violations, when you said you've gotta pretty much spank their hand, tell them they violated, or gotta violate them before, you can do something about it. That seems like, is there any kind of way you can intervene before that?
So when I say a good violation, so if their time is getting near, and their time is getting to the end, and they haven't completed their classes, but they have been working on those. And some people spend quite a few time, in jail off the original plea.
You couldn't just give them an extension?
We can't legally. We had been doing that years ago. years ago, we would sign the extension, the judge would sign off on it, and they've passed some laws, and so now we have to do it legally. And they go over to the jail, they check themselves in, they give them a court date, they come back to court, and we say, hey, they've got 8 weeks left. Let's continue the case so they don't plead guilty to it. And yes, it clogs up the court system, but legally, we've gotta do it.
Sounds like there ought to be a better way to do that. Kinda like you're punishing them again, they're trying to do the right thing, and then you
The
spank
good
them
thing
again.
about it is they don't have to make bond.
Yeah,
And we encourage them to go to the jail on a Friday when the jail's not so busy through the week with court and transporting and everything. And the jail tries really hard to get them in and out real
it kinda
fast.
plays on your psyche though a little bit.
But they,
And
once
we've
we
got a lot of mental
explain
health
it to
issues
them,
going on around here now.
Right.
Enough, yeah.
once we explain it to them, they feel better about it. But like you said, a violation is a violation, and
Yeah.
sometimes that can play on you.
Yeah.
Do you know Robin Rocket?
I do not.
Was a friend of mine. Dyer County, he was probation
Okay,
for years.
for years.
Robin Rocket. That's the name. ain't
That's
it?
a name.
Sounds like,
Don't forget that one.
My church is a part of an association that's been in existence for over 157 years. And one of the ministers in there is want to do jail ministry. And we're wanting to, I suggested maybe partnering with somebody that's already doing this, find out who's doing, ministries, different kind of ministries going on. And is there a list of something we could do, we could support somebody that's already doing that, or I hate to go out and reinvent the wheel,
Chad might know more about the jail ministry
Yeah.
part of things.
Okay.
I'm not real aware of that, so
Okay.
that would probably be a Chad question to be able
Okay.
to ask him on that part.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Ms. Baker. You do a very thorough job, and, it's hard when I listen to your report. You give these people so many opportunities, that they
Yeah.
have a chance to call, they get a text message. I know their circumstances, but
And still, there are so
her
many
office is
irresponsible
so
people
good about giving
that,
them the opportunity
Just
to
that way.
And
not
still
miss their
have high
appointment.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our team, and I'm not saying it because it's us, I'm really not. Our team works really, really hard. We're tough when we need to be, but we also know that if you don't help them get help, they're gonna keep repeating.
That's
You're just
right.
gonna, it's a revolving door if you don't help. And tough love isn't always a bad thing.
That's right.
But I've got a really hard-working team. Like I said, they work really, really hard.
Linda, I wanted to ask, the 450 messages that were left in your violation summary, are those a combination of voicemail, text?
Not text, voicemails. We actually pick up the phone, and if they no show, we will pick up the phone and try to get in touch with them. Or, like, our rule is, once you're released from jail, you have 48 hours to make contact with us. That doesn't mean you have to come up there. It could be by email, because all of our emails are on the county website. You could pick up the phone and call. Within 48 hours, if you're not picking up the phone and we look at the jail roster, or we go into VineLink and we can't see your name anywhere in VineLink, which goes to jails throughout the state, if we can't find your name in one of those places, we're making an attempt to get in touch with you. A couple of reasons. You want to get them fresh. You want to get them fresh out of jail. You want to get them in here. You want to get them compliant. But that's also a very vulnerable time for people that have a drug issue, that if they've been in jail for any amount of time and they're released and they go back to using, that's very high for an overdose. And we want to try to get you in here as soon as we can. Now, with that being said, most of the time, if somebody calls me today,
So would the
I'm
bulk
scheduling
of the
them out.
450 messages be voicemail?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just know from personal experience, text messages are so much easier to respond to.
To.
Voicemails are tough.
Yes,
A lot
yes.
of people just don't even bother to go into their voicemail.
Yes, that's what we're doing, is we're attempting, any way we
Is
can
there
get
a
in touch.
chance you would start text messaging
I think there's always a chance for us to do something.
for the violation summary, those,
Or to add
get
that,
them compliant?
I think there's always a chance for us to do something, because who would have
I'd
thought?
look into it.
Who would have thought a year ago that we would have had a text message reminder system? If you told me that I would have been doing that a year ago, I would have said no. But we sat down at the table, and we're always brainstorming. We're always brainstorming. I mean, sometimes you think, why are they not getting this? If somebody threatened me with jail, I mean, right now, if I knew I had to go over and sit in that jail, I mean, I'm scared of a lot of things, but a lot of things I'm not. But if you told me I had to go sit in that jail cell, okay, if I have to walk from here to the jail, I'm gonna be there. But some people just, they're not, it's not registering.
You wouldn't have been in jail in the first place.
I hope not.
Correct.
Have you had any trouble since Bradford moved out of their
lot.
facility?
Yes, very much.
Who has picked up that slack?
So this is what's happening with Bradford, and I don't like it, but it first started when COVID happened. So everything with everybody, every service, everywhere changed when COVID happened. When Bradford shut down, basically the end of December, they started doing their alcohol and drug assessments over the phone. And then we have to drug screen these clients, which we drug screen all the time anyway, but this is extra drug screens that we're doing. We have to drug screen these clients because they want a drug screen with that assessment, or don't our clients are gonna have to drive to Nashville, Chattanooga, or Cookeville. And so we're having to get all that set up, send in the drug screen. Hopefully they will hook up between Bradford and them. It's been huge. Centerstone has recently, within the last month, got a federal government grant, and they have opened up what we call traditional IOP, which is a couple of days a week. In the past, it hadn't been every week. That's just up and recently running, but not everybody's going to qualify for that type of grant, that safety net. A lot of people will, but there's some people that won't qualify for that. And even Bradford, before they shut down, all the treatment was by Zoom. You actually sat on your couch in your pajamas, and you got your phone, and you're doing your treatment like this. It is not ideal at all, not at all. But a lot of facilities are doing that, except when you go inpatient. And we don't have a lot of control over that. I mean, we just don't. Hopefully, my goal is one day that the county will be able to have someone to do their own alcohol and drug assessments. Not treatment, just assessments. And that person will be able to teach batterers intervention. They will also be able to teach the DUI school. I have numbers to back up how much money was sent out with us referring out to other services last year, how much money was sent out on these alcohol and drug assessments and domestic assessments and the domestic classes. And not that we're in it for the money-making business, we're not, but there's enough money that was sent to other agencies that it would pay for a person to be able to teach the DUI class, which is traditionally a 12-hour class once a month. Batterers intervention is two classes, a day class and a night class, once a week, and then do the alcohol and drug assessments. But it would take a full-time employee to do all that, and we could keep that full-time employee busy. But it would be within the county. Rutherford County has one. Well, they actually have 2.5. They have 2.5 educational teachers that's all they do. They don't carry a caseload. They do assessments and teach class.
Who does the anger management?
So there's Solutions in Tullahoma. She has a class in Tullahoma and in Murfreesboro. There's Lighthouse Ministry, or not Lighthouse Ministry, Lighthouse Counseling in Murfreesboro. Any mental health center, if we talk with that therapist, send an email, talk to them on the phone, and say, hey, Charlie Brown needs 8 hours of anger management. Can you work with them during your individual counseling sessions? Then they'll do it. But We only have one provider locally for batterers intervention, just one. We only have about 32 across the entire state. 32 is the last list I looked at, because there's a lot to get involved. But once you go through that training, then it's an excellent program. But it just takes a lot to get it set up. Like anything, it takes a lot to get it set up in the beginning, but it's actually a really, really good program.
Can you think of any type of program that would help that we don't have established right now? Maybe something, if another type program to,
The educational position that I spoke about that would do the alcohol and drug assessments, not treatment.
okay,
Because treatment's a whole different, that's a lot. Treatment is a lot. We can send people to treatment, but, you know, like if I have somebody that has a domestic charge, they're gonna have a domestic assessment and an A&D assessment on 90% of those cases. They're gonna have both of those. So if we had someone within the county that could do those assessments to determine if they need further services, then we can always refer out. And if we had someone here that taught the batterers intervention classes, that would be wonderful, because I'm telling you, I can tell a difference in these men. Me and another person are the one that handles all the domestic assaults in our office. And I can tell a difference when these men take anger management, which is not batterers intervention. You can tell a difference. So, I mean, an
Maybe.
educational consultant, educational teacher to teach, that would be something that, not just our office, we're talking about the court system as a whole, because there's some people that their cases worked out that they might not be found guilty, but they're required to take this class, and then at the end their case is dismissed, and that's not a lot, but sometimes the facts just might not be there for everything, and so they still have to go through 6.5 months of class. So this is not going to just benefit probation, it's going to benefit the system as a whole. As a whole, alcohol and drug, domestic, DUI class. I mean, they're paying $175 for a DUI class right now, and we refer every one of those out.
you're closest to all this, and you and your office are closest to all the needs of this program, or this type of program. You got a wish list, just make your wish list, and maybe we can get somebody interested in it to help.
Well, one of the things that I've just put in a request for is a saliva testing kit. The machine itself is $4,500. I've got it in my budget to do it. Each test is $20. Now, our urine samples, those collection kits, I pay a little under $4. This actual test is $20. It will be for those individuals. We have some people in our office that cannot produce a urine specimen for a medical reason. We have some people in our office that have trauma from past issues of maybe abuse that cannot go. We have some clients that may be transitioning from one sex to another, and we are not able to put a female officer, and you can't put a male officer in there. So we have 3 clients that are in that position now, and I don't want to make that client uncomfortable, and I don't want to make any of my staff uncomfortable. So I just sent in my purchase request yesterday. That will not be used for every client that comes through, because financially we can't afford that. I mean, I financially it can't. But to get it started, and I sent in the PO request for my drug screens. I think it was 50 drug screens, and the machine was a little over $5,000. So that's something new that we've had to do, we need to do.
So, for the clients who would have to use it, could you not tack that onto their fine amount, say $20 extra, that would pay for the test?
But we don't always collect that.
I understand that too, yeah.
Our probation line is about the 5th one from the bottom, and everybody else's goes from the top down.
Yeah.
So we may see that and
You
we may not.
yeah.
Do they get drug tested each visit?
No,
So it's just,
it's just random,
okay.
just random.
That was one of the questions I kinda wanted to ask. You keep hearing someone gets a DUI, it'll probably end up costing them 10,000 or more before they're done. Where does that money go?
So if they hire a private attorney,
They'll get a bunch.
and according to who that attorney is, every attorney's different, has different prices. Those DUI funds, they're state mandated fines and fees that the state collects.
Right.
And then there's county mandated fees.
And where does that go? Do you know?
The
State money?
Yes, it goes back to the state. There's like, in certain cases, I'll give you an example. There's some people that'll plead to a drug case, and there will be a drug court fee, okay? So we haven't had drug court in 2 years, and they'll come down and they'll say, Miss Linda, what is this $50 on here for this drug court? I'm not in drug court. It's a state mandated fee. There's like a veterans fee for veterans court. At one time, we had veterans court. Different fees that the state legislature mandates, and then the county clerk collects those based off of that. And
So
some
does
people-
any of that money come back to the county? And
Yes.
people like your organization?
Eventually, yes,
Okay.
yes, because like when we had drug court a couple of years ago, and we're getting ready to start it back up, that is grant funding, that is grants that will come back. So even though we haven't had drug court, that's going to a drug court state pool of money. And it's fees that are mandated outside of us. It's just, we don't have any control over that. So yes, eventually it will come back when the drug court gets in here and that grant money comes from them, they're gonna get some of that.
Is interest charged on any of these funds, they're
Not that I'm-
linger?
No, not that I'm aware of. Like, if we have someone that we supervise that was supposed to be on probation for 11 months and 29 days, and they carry it over on a violation to get time to complete their classes, and it takes them 15 months, our probation fees never increase. Matter of fact, in the whole time that the office has been open, we've only charged $40 the entire time. Legislature says we can charge 45, but we can't even get 40 sometimes.
What about these lingering debts?
The clerk's office handles those. They can move those over to the state and revoke their license. But the clerk's office works really, really hard not to do that. And the courts work really, really hard. They give them multiple chances. If you're paying and attempting, the judges and the DA's office works really, really hard to give them chances to get their license back. And we don't even get a lot of those driving on revokes anymore. Used to, we would get driving on revokes. We do, but nowhere near as many as what we did. Nowhere near as many as what we did.
That because the police just aren't enforcing it, or what?
No, the DAs and the courts are working with people to get their license back so they don't have to go on probation. They're giving them chance after chance.
Yes, yeah.
Any more questions? Thank you, Linda. That was
Thank
very
you.
informative.
Thank you, Linda.
Everything is going smooth with the judicial commissioner's office, as far as I know. I haven't heard anything, so that means that's a good thing.
I
Um,
heard back from Jennifer, and Jennifer didn't work today. She had storm damage at her house, and they have been trying to get some trees up. She had a couple trees fall. I remember one was a big one. She sent me a picture across the
That's-
driveway and stuff, and I'd say it's where the sheriff is too, dealing with
Well,
storm
yeah, I
issues.
think there's still a lot of, and I know Warren County got hit hard, and part of our county got hit
Yeah.
really hard, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where the sheriff is
Yeah.
out helping clean up storm damage, so he usually gives us a good, you'll know next time, a good thorough
Good rundown.
report.
Just bad timing with the
Yeah.
storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, and I'd
You
like
didn't
to
get any
welcome.
sleep? Nobody,
Right.
nobody else did.
No, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Chambers before we end our meeting to,
Glad to be here.
and I will set the date. Right now, our budget and finance, you all know, we're
Every week?
We're, yeah, kinda having to, meet weekly, sometime it may be bi-weekly in the next month or two, so I probably won't, we'll probably have a meeting since we had to go so long this time, a law enforcement committee meeting sooner, but I'm just gonna have to wait till this budget and finance kinda gets a little bit, we see where we're at with that. We'll have to kinda work around that.
You'll send us a notice.
I will send everybody a notice and I'll make sure you get your special, Dwight.
I actually get emails now. on
So
the,
you are getting, okay,
on the
good.
county thing.
I thought about you on the way here and wondered
Thank
if
you.
you,
I did too. I was gonna send him a text, and I thought, I said, he's all right, I know.
I did too.
I'm glad you're getting your emails.
Dwight's on everybody's mind.
I'm so important.
There you go.
Well, I'm sorry our meeting is so short tonight, but without the sheriff here, you know, he usually he has a lot to report. And so I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
I'll make
adjourn.
that.
I'll
All right.
second it. I'll third it, whatever.
Motion is, we are adjourned at 5:12.
I got